Hello, and welcome to another edition of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap. I'm Amy Johnson. This past week saw the IceCaps head out from St. John's on their second road trip of the season, kicking things off over the weekend with just two games in a back-to-back format. Friday night, the IceCaps headed into Springfield for a rematch against the Thunderbirds. And this was unfortunately not a great showing by the IceCaps. They lost this one 3-1 to Springfield. Stefan Matteau was the only one to score for St. John's in this game. He did score, however, on the power play, but it was the penalty killing unit that unfortunately continued to come unraveled. There were a lot of penalties in this game. Discipline seemed to be a problem, revolving door in the penalty box, and the IceCaps just didn't seem to have a lot of energy. They didn't seem to have a lot of pushback, and as I say, with as many penalties as they had and were accruing, they couldn't keep the Thunderbirds out of the back of the net. So then on Saturday night, they traveled to Albany to take on the Devils once again. This game was a very big bounce back game for the IceCaps. A lot more energy, a lot more, the passing was better, the forechecking was better shot attempts, especially in the second period. Nikita Scherbak scored his 7th goal of the season. Michael McCarron potted his 2nd of the season on the power play, and Mark Barberio also scored on the power play. So the power play unit is still really surging forward. It's doing a tremendous job. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the IceCaps were up 3-1 at the end of the second period, they gave up that lead in the third period and ended up losing this game 4-3. Quite frustrating for the team to not even be able to get to overtime and get that much needed 1 point. Scherbak and Barberio actually both had a 1-goal, 1-assist game, so they are producing very well. And this was an evening that Jan Denis was in net instead of Charlie Lindgren. Jan Denis played for the Albany Devils last year as their goaltender, so it was a bit of a homecoming for him, but probably not the outcome that anyone on the team would have liked. So they dropped both games this weekend to begin the road trip, but there's plenty of games left on this road trip for them to turn things around. In transactions this week, there were two. Jeremy Blaine was actually released from his AHL contract, and Connor Crisp was reassigned to the ECHL, sent down to the Brampton Beast. So speaking of those games that we've got coming up this week, the Rocket Sports Media team will be on hand for all 4 of the remaining games on the IceCaps road trip. They play on Tuesday night in Binghampton against the Senators, and then they travel to Rochester to play the Americans on Friday evening before a back-to-back in Toronto to face the Marlies on Saturday and on Sunday. That Tuesday night in Binghamton starts at 7:05 Eastern, 8:35 Newfoundland time. Same time frame for the Friday night tilt against the Americans. Saturday's game in Toronto begins at 5 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Newfoundland time, and then the Sunday afternoon game is an afternoon matinee beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern time, 4:30 p.m. Newfoundland time. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at the AHL Report. Hit us up on Instagram to see some exclusive photos and things of that nature while we are out covering the IceCaps, and our Instagram account is at AHL Report. And of course, you can watch all sorts of multimedia photo galleries, videos, articles, recaps, game previews, weekly forecasts, and player profiles on our website, ahl.report. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Amy Johnson. We'll see you back here next week for another issue of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap.